Hello, Blender people or anyone on the internet that might be interested in this software. And today I'm going to see if I can get a really basic missile launcher thingy to animate. And I'm going to do it with actions and see how it goes. So, using Blender 2.69, which is at the latest as of the time of this recording. So, let's get started here. Right now I have this box. It doesn't look too remarkable, but if I turn off the box and hide the doors, you can see in the box we have a basic missile launcher platform. And the idea is to have the doors on the box open and this missile to raise up and point at a target. So let's turn the box back on, put the missile inside it, and put the doors back. And we'll need to add a target. What else is the missile going to aim at when we animate this thing, right? So, where's our empty here? Right here. That'll work fine. And I'll move it off to the side. And where's the name for this thing? Well, I'll do it over there. Call it missile target. There we go. That's what the missile is going to point at when this thing finishes its animation sequence. And next, we want to make sure our origins are in all our things, because who knows where they're at right now. So, the box, it looks it's okay, but I'll just origin in geometry. And doors, that's fine too. We're going to use bones for a bit of this, so it shouldn't matter too much. And let's hide our doors here. Means we'll hide the box too. And origin to geometry. It's just when you click on it, you got your handles in the middle of it instead of somewhere else. Oops, where'd it go? I didn't want that one. Geometry. That one looks fine. Geometry. That's fine. Alright, so we have our little missile platform that fits inside the box. Set up so we know what we're selecting. Our handles show up where we expect them. So, next what we'll want to do is rig this thing, right? So let's do that. So, hit 5 on the number pad for ortho view. I guess Control 3 will give us the side view and so we can see what's inside our box. Actually, I'll hit 3. That'll work. We'll have our wireframe view so we can see what's going on as we lay out our bones. So right now our 3D cursor is at the origin. And I'm just going to click to place to the 3D cursor. I'm not going to say right or left because I know you can actually switch those around in your options, so I'm not going to say which click to do it. But I have my mouse switched to left click selects, so I'm just used to that and everything else, so I switched it to be more what I'm used to. Okay, so we're going to need to add bones or armatures. Add a single bone. That's fine. Let's switch to edit mode for our bones. The end of the bone. Right about here. Well, actually, it shouldn't matter because this bone is going to be attached to the box. And what I'm thinking of doing is exiting the armature. Yeah, I gotta go step back a little bit. object mode, because what I want to do is solo that, and I don't know if soloing will work, because you know why? 'Cause the space that it references is different than this space. So we'll just have to hide stuff. Sorry about that. Doing this as I go along, I didn't practice. So we'll turn off the box, because we want the cursor, the center for where we're going to place our next bone. So we gotta turn that off. Got that selected. We'll go to edit mode while that is selected. And what I want to do is select all. I believe I am in, no, I'm not in vertex selection, but I can fix that. The vertex selection, and hit Shift S, cursor to selected. That'll put the cursor where I want it, and back out of edit mode here, back to our bone, go back to edit mode while the bone is selected, and I believe we can snap the end of it to the cursor there. And now we'll just move this up on the Y a little bit. So let's go back to what we had, right? And yeah, it's a little bit of navigation here, and they're back to our wireframe. So now I can extrude, and we'll do that on the Z. And similar kind of thing, because this rig is set up. Back out of here. Yeah, I know, it's a little tedious. A little bit tedious. This time, we'll hide this part, which is the armature base. And select this piece, go back to edit mode for this piece. Select all. And these two vertices are actually opposing each other, but centered between those two vertices is where we want our next bone to end up at. So we'll go mesh and snap, or no, selection. Actually, Shift S to snap, and cursor to selected. There we go. Yeah, gotta remember all my hotkeys. Still halfway new at this. Back to that. Back to edit mode. And armature snap. Selection of cursor. So now if we go to wireframe, it's exactly in the center. And we'll extrude that one to see? So, or actually it's Y. That's right. Y is forward and back in Blender. So, forward and back here. And object mode. See. Select that thing again. I'll hide this piece. So tab into edit mode. Okay, and then these two vertices. And then Shift S, cursor to selected, and then out of edit mode for that, back to Z, back to that, and we're going to go back in edit mode for that, Shift S, selection of cursor, because that gets us lined up. This thing will line up nice. Alright, so far so good. And now we want it to line up with the next piece up here, so we can just leave that, select that, and go into edit mode, at vertex, and this vertex, Shift S. Cursor to selected. Alright. And now we can leave edit mode again. Go back to armature. And edit that again. And we want to extrude on the Z-axis. Extrude Z. And since we already moved our cursor ahead of time this time, Shift, selection of cursor. And we're almost there. Almost there. So then, I'm just going to move my position around a little bit. And we'll X here, go back to object. Select this piece. Go back to edit mode. Hit A to deselect those. And do these two vertices. So we'll Shift S, cursor to selected. Alright. Oh, I didn't have both vertices selected. That would be a problem. I want it lined up center. There. So the center waits to place that. So Shift S, cursor selected. You gotta watch it. You gotta make sure that each on the side is selected so that 3D cursor is in between them. Alright, now we're good for that. Object mode. Select the bones. Go back to editing the bones. And we'll extrude on the Y-axis. And Shift S to snap. Selection cursor. And in this case, we're not worried too much about that alignment. We just want to extrude one more time for this piece onto the Z-axis. So extrude, or actually it's a Y-axis. Yeah, use the outer apps where Z is forward and back. So, and it should be good for rating that part. But we need to add 2 more bones. So let's add another bone. And we didn't need it there. So, just move the whole bone up here. I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate it on the X. Those are going to be our door hinges. So, what we want to do is position them in a reasonably good spot for hinging the door. Select both of them, G, Z, up, down a little bit. And actually looks reasonable as that. I'm just going to change the rotation, I guess. So that one should be R. Well, I can just do this. You know what? I'm going to move the cursor there. Cursor to selection. And I'm going to select that, change the rotation mode to 3D cursor, and rotate X, rotate Y, rotate Y. And hold down Control to constrain it in steps 5. There, that one's good. Select that one. Selected, do the same thing with that. Rotate Y. And bring it back to 90 degrees. Alright. And these, I'll want to put back and make their appearance this bone here. So, should be able to, let's go to the bone and select parent, bone. You can see it goes all the way down to the bone, which is the first one. Same with this one, parent, bone, which is the base, and I think we got most of our egg done here. Most of it, so let's rename these bones. This will be base. This one will be arm, pivot, and this one will be arm 1, arm 2, arm 3, and this one will be launcher rail. And I guess these are the doors. Door 1, door 2, oops. Okay. So this will be door 1. And this will be door 2. Alrighty. So we have our parts of our rig named. And now we need to set up the rest of our rig. Launcher box. So let's do that. Oh, we're still on the armature. Yeah, alright. So, switch the armature to pose mode. What I want to do is go back to select the box. And select the base, right? Alright, now hit Control P, and what we want is bone relative, which is great for mechanical modeling if you're doing a rig just like I did, with your model and location, everything in place. Don't use bone or these other ones, it might do something else. Just use bone relative. Yeah. Alright. And I noticed the pivot base I didn't turn on, so I gotta do that. Or the arm base. There we go. And the next bone up, so we select that. And I guess the bone inside it, if I can get it. Yeah. I think that's right. Control P, bone relative. And I want that one and that bone inside it. There we go. Control P, bone relative. And I turned off that piece, so now I'm going to turn it back on. And make that bone relative. There might be a faster way, but this is how I do it. I know I don't mess it up. And that one with the bone inside it. Oops. Don't want that. Ah. Set 8L and select them all. Try again. There. Control P, bone relative. And then the launcher rail. And the last bone down there. Control P, bone relative. And don't forget the doors. So I do the doors to their respective bones. Alright. I think that's good so far. Yeah, this should be good so far. So if I rotate this bone on its Y, here we go, that door opens. And if I rotate that bone on its Y, that door opens. Cool. And if I move the base bone around, the whole thing moves with the box. Notice the missile's not hooked up to anything yet because I'm going to use a child of constraint on it. Because the idea is a missile can launch off of there if you want it to. And if I can grab that, these handles getting away sometimes, you just got to click around. So if I were to rotate that on the Z, the whole launcher base moves around. Okay, so I think our rig's good to go in terms of the rig. So now we gotta animate it. But we're going to need some empties, because how we're going to animate it, we'll need empties to pass through channel information. So I don't know of a better way to do it. So we will need some extra empties. But we can get out of this transparent view. And probably get out of ortho view now. So we're going to make sure our launcher box is selected. And to animate the arming sequence, we're going to add a custom property to this. And I'm just going to call it launch position, or maybe missile arm, something like that. Let's just call it missile arm, okay. And I believe those values are fine. There. At least now you know what that control does. That'll bring your missile launch position. And we can edit this and set the property value as the base property is 0.0. You want it to have the 0.0 in there, because otherwise it'll go as an integer, it won't float. You gotta have that 0.0 there. So that should be good. And that just keeps our starting value at 0. And now we need to add one empty to pass along that value, and there's going to be another empty which we'll animate, because we need to pass along the value from custom properties to what is it? Do you have action modifier? No, it's only in bone constraints. The action modifier, we need empties to pass certain values along the actions, because actions or other constraints can't read stuff directly from actions. You need empties to pass that stuff along. And you also need an empty to pass the custom value to the action, which is kind of goofy, but I'll try to explain it. So we'll need to add another empty. Oh, where is it? And we'll call this one custom pass, or custom value pass. I don't know. Because what we're doing is we're using an empty to pass a custom value. Move this off. Put it in the box. We'll probably hide it later on, or put it on another layer or something. But to keep it all together, I will just make the missile launcher box its parent. So launcher box is the parent of that. Alright. And if I go to what is it? Launcher box here. And I think I'll need to do drivers. So let's do that too. We gotta go to where's the preferences? User preferences. And you gotta go to file, and you gotta turn this thing on, because it's always turned off unless you save it. But you supposedly don't run random scripts on Blender for some reason, but okay, so just gotta remember to turn that on so you can pass the stuff through. I think it might be needed. So we have that. And we have our empty here. Custom pass through. And now we got to do is what? We got to This location on the Y next, those are fine. And its Y location will be controlled by a driver on an empty, and it's going to pass the custom value from that box. Now we got to go to animation. And drivers, location. And it just takes a little bit of a while to set up. And what we want to do is change this to single property and launcher box. Now you gotta go back to launcher box. And it's just easier to do it in this window layout. So launcher box is selected. And right click on there and copy data path. Alright. I hope it's not too long-winded and you can follow what I am doing. Go back to animation. Ah, great. I gotta find the empty again. So go armature. So launcher box. Empty's inside of it, isn't it? Yep. There. And since that's selected, Control V to paste the value, missile arm. It goes from red to color, so we know it's working. And what that will do is pass the value of 0 through 1 into the Y position of this. And the only reason we're moving it empty in the Y position is so we can read the Y value to drive our actions. Because there's no other way I can think of to do it. There might be a way to do it scripting, but I'm not so great at that. So, what do we want to do next? Is go back to default. We're good here. So, let's see. We're in post mode, so that's all groovy. And what we'll do is set up our animation here. So, first thing we want to animate is the doors. So we'll hit I for location and rotation. Bam. That one there. The same one for there. I, location, and rotation. And we are at frame 1. And notice both those doors are currently saved in their shut position. And I think we'll do that for the other bones here. Arm pivot is I, location, and rotation. We'll just do that for all our bones, just to give them a starting point reference. And since we're doing other stuff, let's have our missile give its modifier just so it follows along. There should be one for child of. Actually, it's a constraint, isn't it? Constraint. There we go. Child of. Let's make that launcher rail. And we don't want rotation. Rescale, I don't think we need that. And it seems like it offset it by a bit. I'm not sure why it does it. Okay, well, we'll just move it down manually. I think that's okay. I just want it so it kind of sits on the launcher rail. And boom, straight. Okay, those are all keyframed. Excuse me. So let's move our playhead forward about, what, 21 frames? I'm going to add one to each of these because I want the full animation to be 100 frames long for this sequence. So at 20 frames, we are going to rotate this. You see the green arrow there? I'm pretty sure that's the y-axis. So rotate on y, and it will be 90 degrees, if I can get there. And the same for the other door. And now I gotta do is, oop, I gotta hit I, location, rotation, okay. And then do the same with that one, rotate it, Y by 90, and hit I, location and rotation. So now what will happen when we animate, the first step in our whole animation for the missile launcher is these doors open. Alright, so that's good. And now at frame 40, 41 I should say, I should always move it by one more. I'm going to make both of these doors get down and out of the way so our missile can launch. Here it's sticking up in any of the directions the missile can launch. So I, location and rotation. Alright, so let's scroll back. And our missile launcher door is open, and then they fold back down out of the way. Cool. Alright. Now we'll go a little bit longer, just have like a brief pause. And this will be our next starting point for our missile launcher to get ready. And I guess we'll do all the bones in here, so we'll just do Y, location, rotation. I think that's fine. I think I'm doing it okay. And it should get all of those set up. Alright. And then let's say frame 81. We're going to move everything up, so let's do this. This one will rotate the X. Make sure it's on the X. Like so, just something. And should be fine. Yeah, we'll just do rotation. And then this bone will rotate on X as well. Something like that. Rotation. And this one rotate on X. And our launcher bone will rotate on X. Apparently the missile has to have its child of lined up, so we'll have to go back to that. Let's constraint. And for some reason this rotation is goofy, but we should just be able to fix that by rotating on X. We'll go to the first frame and rotate on X 90, because now we know this rotation will be lined up. And its location seems to be off too. We'll just fix it, that should be good. By selecting this thing, we'll see if it works. So let's just hit play, doors open, fold down, and our missile gets into launch position. Cool beans. Alright. And what we want to do is go back to our last keyframe 80, or 81 I should say. And I'll just rotate this on X a little bit too, just to bring the missile a little bit more level stance. So Or actually, yeah. Yeah, no adjustments. Rotate. X. Let's get this thing up higher. And redo the keyframe. There. That should be pretty good, right? Yeah, let's go back to beginning. Doors open. And missile gets up in the launch position, but we still need the missile to aim. But to control the aiming, we need to put, constraints? A track 2 or something like that. On the bone for the base pivot, and one up here for the launcher rail. But we can't dial the constraint influences directly, so we need to add another empty. So let's do that. We'll add an empty. Well, I can't do it while that's selected. We'll probably have to go to object mode to add an empty. And we'll just move it down out of the way somewhat. That far. Not that far. Like that other empty we had to control the whole actions, we'll have another empty here. So that one is the custom value pass through empty, and this empty will be what? Our constraint pass through, or our targeting pass through. So we'll have to rename this one too, just so you know what it does. Or tracking pass through, I guess, or a track modifier influence pass through. That's probably what it should be. And this one is passing the value from our animation or actions to influence. We'll also make this parent the missile launcher box. That should be fine. I believe I'm going to use the Y value in this too. So this one will pass actions, and then this one will pass the other stuff, but the action should be able to control it, so we'll see. Go to 0. So let's do, let's see, we'll have location on that, and we'll go to what, frame 81, I believe. If I can grab a bone. Alright. Frame 81. Alright, we're good there, right? So from here we want it to start aiming. Aiming at our target, which is down there right now, but so our influence pass through. Let's have its starting position keyframed here. And we'll actually should make the Y 0. At frame, what is it, 101? We'll make its Y value 1. Okay, that's a little different, but that's okay. Somehow got aligned with the local axes of the box, I guess. It doesn't matter. I'm just using it to pass through the value on its y-axis. It can be any axis, but that's just the one I picked. Alright. So now let's check this thing out. It's just like nothing. And well, let's take a look at this. So on our action, everything that's in this animation now, it should be in our action. Missile rises up, and it's all good, I believe. So let's go back to animation. And it says dope sheet right now, but we'll switch this to action editor. And I believe all this stuff that we just did is our current action. So that's good to go. Alright. Zoom this timeline down. We don't need such a huge timeline for what we're doing right now. And influence past action. I don't know why it's called that. Well, this should be called... It should be called global action, or is... I don't know. It should be in all the actions, right? Armature action. Alright, somehow or other the influence got its own action. Not armature. Probably because it's not part of the bone set. I don't know. Well, we'll just have to key that one through somehow too. How we're gonna do it? Well, I guess we'll have to use two actions here. Armature action, that's an okay name. Let's pass action. Anyhow. They're both 101 frames long, so that should work. I'll just end up using two actions instead of one in my reference. So we don't need this animation on here anymore. So armature action will knock out. And influence past action. Click on that, but I'm going to knock it out. Alright. So what we have now is this box. And every bone we have to put an action modifier on, I believe. So, let's go back to our objects. If I can Z, I can find my bones, I'm sure. And we want that pose mode. And on every bone, we want constraint, right? And it'll be actions. The target will be our custom value pass, Y location, space, and it will be armature action. And 0 through 1, and 1 through 101. And we gotta do that on all our bones. Yeah, just to get a missile launcher to work. Alright. Custom value pass, Y location, local space. There we go. So, action, custom value pass, which is that empty. Because you can't directly hook a value from a custom value to drive the actions. You have to use the target. Nice if they had an option to change it to like a single property or something, and I could do it the other way, but no, you gotta pass it through to empty. Oh. Alright. Make sure these are set. Did I set that right? 0, I didn't set that one right. And you want to make sure that all the bones controlled by your actions have the right value ranges. Because otherwise you'll have weirdness and you might not know what's going on. And you know what? Some people don't like reading. But this is cool though. This will work. Pretty sure it'll work. And action. Da, 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 da. Alright. Location. Local space. Traction. One start. I want -1, I want 1. Click on it to highlight. Alright. Just quick run through. Make sure all the ranges are set. And doors too. Doors, don't forget though. Look weird if it just passes through. Action ranges and frames for the action animation you made. Hope it's not too confusing. There's probably other videos that explain this stuff better. Trying to highlight it. Keep clicking the arrow zone, I guess. Alright. And you can see those turning green when they're all set too, so I believe that is good to go. Let's hit C. Let's just click on the box. And now we go to our custom property of missile arm. Let's drag that sucker and alright. Why is it not moving? Let's see. And is our empty moving? No, our empty is not moving. Huh. Where's our other empty? System value pass. And its driver. Did I set that up right? We'll see. Scripted expression. Derp. Helps to type in. There. Yeah, you gotta pass the variable to the scripted expression. That would help. Alright. Let's try this again. Alright. Now let's see if our action is being passed through like I wanted it to be. Yay! And it looks like it's pointing in a weird direction. Okay, why is it not pointing forward? It goes up. Alright. It's not refreshing all the time either. I notice that sometimes. There. It goes up. It goes up. That one's not going forward like it should be. Okay. Why is it not doing that? So let's go. Load. Oh, the action. There. Some value pass. Bam, there. Now we're good. Now we're golden. Oh yeah, and you saw that box red there when I added something. It's good. So now let's. And well, our missile is ready to aim at something. Alright. So that's pretty cool. And now I'll have to use an action to drive the empty to drive an action, I think. So that's probably what I'll have to do. is influence pass. Need a constraint, which is an action, which gets its custom value pass because it has the same amount of frames, right? So action is influence pass action. Y location, local space, same frames as the other one, same range. And the reason we need the influence pass empty is because we can't put our constraint values directly through an action for some reason. I don't know why. But this should work. Should is the key word. Alright. Untested. So our missile launcher box open up and it goes up, but it's not pointing at our target over here yet. I'll move this target up somewhere like up here, so it's not pointing down or anything goofy. You don't want to blow yourself up with your missile. Yeah, let's move it off to the side a little bit too. So. And now we go to two of our bones. So we need one bone to rotate relative to its axial rotation, which I believe is going to be what, Z? Yeah, Z. Cruncher, arm pivot, and add a bone constraint. I think it's a locked track. Rotate around a specific locked axis. Yeah, that's what I want. Locked track. And it is going to target, missile target. Locked on Z. I might have to move it up. I don't know what it's doing. I don't know what it's doing. Move it back down. Well, I know I want that to pivot. So it points towards that. And apparently the Z lock's not what we want. If I can find my bone scan. Okay, it's the Y-axis for that bone. Okay. Now we're good. Which means that's Y. That bone, and I guess I gotta go C. Yeah, C. Alright. Let's check that out. Yeah. That's what we wanted. Okay. So that one's done. And next is this one up here. And another bone constraint. Locked track. We want our missile target. And I believe that is the x-axis for the bone. Yep. So our missile will point at the target. It's cool. Alright. And now all we gotta do is... Oops. Go to this bone. Or that one, I guess. Here we go. See, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. Missile target, we got to take the influence here. And we gotta switch the influence to driver, don't we? Driver. The same for this one. Driver. Because we're going to use that empty to pass through stuff to our drivers. So, So how are we gonna do this? So we gotta go back to that wood. Go to animation. That's arm pivot driver. Scripting expression is just variable. And we don't need a transformer, we just need a single property. I guess transform channel. And influence pass, because we're doing influence by location, local space. So that one is good. And up here, same thing. Make sure it's checked. Transform channel, influence pass, by location, local space. Change this to var. Okay. And okay, stand animation. Don't need all that on. And I think we're good to go. Yeah. Alright. So let's go to default view, hit Z. And let's see how our rig is. And right now it's all going to hook into that custom property. And we should have our missile open up name, so. Oh, why is it not working right? Shoot. Come on. It's totally broken. Oh, all that work for nothing. See, what it should do is I should bring this up and it should aim and pass that stuff along. Aim right at there. And I don't know what went wrong. Now if anybody has a clue why these things didn't work right. Almost looks like it's aiming something. My doors are flopped down here. Let's do it. Let's do it. I don't know what the hell it's doing. Well, I had a good start. So if anyone knows what the hell went wrong, post it in the comments, and this would have been a good tutorial if I had it all rigged up. But apparently some stuff got offset and it broke when I just tried to move it straight to the action channel, and I don't know what the hell happened. It's confusing me. Well, the idea is right, it's just that the execution or something flawed, so. I'll let somebody else be a judge of that. Try again later, I guess.